You know how in a recent video I said I was working on like a new series thing, whatever, on my channel centered around graphic novels? Well, here it is. Here's the first episode slash, I guess episode is what I'll call it. I don't know. Anyways, here's the first episode of Get Graphic, where I'm going to be talking to you guys about different types of graphic novels. I'm going to be recommending graphic novels based on certain elements of the graphic novels. I will probably do graphic novel reviews. I will do lots of things centered around comics and graphic novels. As you guys can tell from the title of this video, the first episode ever of Get Graphic will be all about graphics that are great for beginners. So I'm going to talk to you guys about 5 different graphic novel series that are all really great as a starting point if you aren't super into graphic novel reading yet, or if you have literally never read a graphic novel before. These ones are perfect for different reasons as the beginning steps to becoming obsessed with graphic novels, much like I am. Okay, the first series I'm going to talk to you guys about is Giant Daze. This series is really, really good if you are a contemporary reader. If you're a really big fan of contemporary YA or like new adult or just contemporary fiction, this is the perfect place to start. A lot of graphic novel series are very fantasy and sci-fi based, or very fantasy and sci-fi heavy in their storylines, and not every reader is super into fantasy and sci-fi. I personally am, but not everyone is. This series follows a group of girls in their first year of university, and all 3 of them are roommates, but they're all also very different, like just outrageously different. As the series progresses, it goes through different years of university. Also, it adds some new characters into the scheme of things, but for the most part, it follows these 3 girls through their journey. The artwork is also super bright and very easy to get into, and the story is super, super, super easy to like just dive into and fall in love with immediately. Next, we have probably the most obvious and the most persistent and probably the most popular graphic novel recommendation potentially of our time, and that is Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is a like fantasy sci-fi graphic that takes place in space, and it follows these 2 different peoples who have been fighting forever. One is a planet, the other is a moon, and one of them is very sci-fi based and one of them is very fantasy based. And basically, they have been warring against each other for so long that nobody can remember the last time that it wasn't happening. And they've moved the war onto like outside places. So now the war takes place on other planets and other moons and other comets and other places that aren't their home moon and planet anymore. So therefore, pretty much everyone in the galaxy has a stake in this war, and pretty much everyone in the galaxy has taken a side. So essentially, this graphic follows Hazel, who is the daughter of a Landfallian and a Wreath, which are like those 2 places, those 2 peoples who are battling each other. And she is the narrator of the story, and it is basically the story of how her and her parents are running away from basically the entire galaxy just to save her and all the people they meet along the way. And it's just a really excellent like social commentary on the world and war and just everything in general. It's so well done. The writing is phenomenal and the artwork is brilliant. It's like some of the best artwork I have ever seen. And also the artist is female and Canadian. What more could you want? I will say this is a very graphic novel. There is a lot of content in this graphic. There's a lot of nudity. So if those are things that you personally cannot handle, then I wouldn't recommend this one. But otherwise, this is one of those reads where like even if you're not a sci-fi or fantasy reader, it is compulsively readable. You pick it up and from the first page, you are hooked. Like you want to read everything in one sitting. Like you will be hooked immediately, I promise. Next, I have a recommendation for those of us who were big fans of like Harry Potter or Narnia or that type of story, and that is Amulet by Kazu Kibushi. This is a like middle grade graphic novel series. This also gets kind of mixed reviews in the booktube universe, but it's really good for people who want the type of story that Narnia is. It follows a girl who gets in an accident with her dad at the beginning of the story, and her dad passes away. Then, after her father's passing, her mom, herself, and her brother need to move, and they move to her uncle's old house. And she basically finds this like secret passageway into this other world, and in this other world she finds out that not only does she have superhuman powers, but she seems to be like a really, really important person in this world. It has a female-centered main character in a middle grade fantasy adventure story, and that's not as common as it should be. This is also a series that I find I can read and just fall in love with without feeling like I have to like put 110% of my brain power into, which sometimes I really, really like as a reader. Like sometimes I want to pick something up and I just want it to be fun. And this for me was definitely like one of those like super fun graphic novel reads. Next, I have another middle grade series, and that is Lumberjanes by Stevenson, Ellis, Waters, and Allen. This series is basically everything you want in anything you read. It's like, it has ridiculous LGBTQ plus representation. It's about like a totally kick-butt girl gang. And also it has this like little hint of like fantastical element to it-ish. It follows a group of girls at summer camp, and basically they need to like earn all of these badges, and to earn those badges they need to go on these adventures, and through going on those adventures they kind of find like this mythical thing. But this is really just about this like group of girls being best friends with one another and being completely powerful alone but being more powerful together, and also being completely accepting of one another no matter what. And it just feels so perfect in the way that it's executed. And I really, really love the fact that friendship plays such a large role in this series. And it's one of those ones that like reminds me of like a modern day, way more inclusive, like Babysitter's Club-esque feel to it. I feel like this is also a really good one if you're normally a contemporary reader, but you want to like kind of veer off a little bit into the fantasy-ish genre, then I think this is definitely for you. And last but not least, we actually have my number one recommendation. As much as Saga is like the most popular graphic series right now, this is one that isn't that popular that I personally recommend very highly, and that is The Wood. This series is so good. There isn't much I can tell you about it without spoiling too much, so I'm not going to give you a full description, but basically it follows this high school and all of these kids that are super different because high school, and basically they go to school and then they find out that their school has been transported to the middle of this weird wilderness. Nothing works, no batteries, no lights, no electronics, nothing works, and they don't know where they are, they don't know how they got there, and they don't know how they're gonna survive. All the characters are super badass, all the characters serve completely different purposes. This is also an LGBTQ plus friendly book. Also, this series has super kick-butt female lead characters. It also has a lot of male lead characters. There isn't necessarily one main character in this series, there's just like a whole bunch of main characters, but the female characters in this series are very, very, very independent and very kick-butt, so also that. As a sidebar, in case you're looking for this after this video, this is actually the 4th volume. I own the first 3 volumes as individual issues, not full graphic novels, so I decided to show you like the 4th volume for like the sake of showing you the artwork and such, which is like punchy and very bright but also dark at the same time. So good. So good. So good. Those are my 5 recommendations for great graphics for beginners. I will be posting a new video in this series very soon. I have a lot planned out, but if there are any specific graphic novel videos you really want to see from me, make sure to comment down below and let me know, and I'll be sure to try to film them as soon as possible. I'm really excited about starting this series on my channel. I am a huge comic book and graphic novel nerd, and I feel like I haven't been portraying that enough on my channel, so I'm really excited to start filming these videos. If you want to see anything, again, comment down below, let me know. I'll be sure to do it for you guys. And other than that, I'll see you guys soon with another video. Happy reading.